Apollo 10 was to be the first mission to do a lunar orbit rendezvous with the lunar module. The first to take the LEM and test it around the moon. And it would go there, test out everything that needed to be done, except land. Now, as Gene Cernan said, there were two schools of thought in that decision. One was, we put a crew on the Saturn V, we send these guys all that way, do this dangerous thing, why not go the rest of the way? What have we got to lose? But then, there's the other school of thought, which was, we need a little bit more confidence in the lunar module, its operations, its systems. Let's take it to the moon, test out everything that needed to be tested there, giving Apollo 11 all the information that was needed to try a descent to the lunar surface. So on May 18th, 1969, Tom Stafford, Gene Cernan and John Young ascended their Saturn V rocket and launched towards the moon. 4 days later, when they arrived at lunar orbit, the first mission to take a lunar module to the moon, Tom Stafford and Gene Cernan entered their lunar module Snoopy, leaving John Young behind in the command module Charlie Brown. Apollo 10, just as the Apollo 9 mission had done, moved away from the command module and got in a correct position where they fired their descent engine to begin a retro sequence and descend towards the moon. Now they carried on this rocket burn until they reached about 47,000 feet above the moon's surface. Now, Gene Cernan says that sounds high, but these guys are traveling at 3,000 miles an hour. They were moving, okay? Gene Cernan, when one of his air-to-ground transmissions said, "Well, Houston, this is Snoopy. We is going, we is down among 'em." And just says it's absolutely incredible, skimming across these mountaintops at 3,000 miles an hour. He said they were really hauling the mail. But very, very quickly, it's time to break off and come home. As they came home, one of the things that they wanted to do was test out the AGS computer, the abort guidance system. And the AGS is a very user-unfriendly computer where there's thousands of keystrokes you had to enter, and if you make one mistake, you're done for. Now, Gene Cernan inputted the correct information for the AGS computer for when they would blow the descent stage and in what would be an abort if this had been a proper lunar landing, testing out the abort system. So Gene Cernan inputs this stuff correctly. Little breakdown of communication in that Tom Stafford didn't know that Gene Cernan had inputted this information. So Tom Stafford re-entered this information, and it's in such a way that he just added it on, doubling all of the angles and vectors that the computer has in it. So the primary system is flying the spacecraft in one attitude, and keyed into the abort guidance system was another attitude. So when they hit the abort switch and blew the descent stage, the AGS computer activated, got confused, and spun this thing around at a very, very high rate. And Gene Cernan says that that's when Apollo 10 became X-rated. And I've heard air-to-ground transmissions of these guys cursing and swearing as this thing starts spinning out of control. And Gene Cernan says that when they flipped the abort switch, the thing started spinning. He literally saw the lunar horizon 8 times in 15 seconds. Pretty scary stuff. But Immediately Tom Stafford flipped on the manual system and got this roll rate down quite quickly. A testament to Tom Stafford, who is one of the most brilliant commanders in the whole of NASA. Managed to get this thing sorted. They made the rendezvous with John Young and started the trip back home. It was an incredibly successful mission and absolutely laid the foundations for Apollo 11 a couple of months later to make the first landing on the moon.